to episode 11 of Prime Time with Daph and Phil, but specifically the free refill part.
Welcome back to Prime Time. It's episode 11. It's free refill. What a week. First off, hold on. Let me start over. Let's do that again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to free refill episode 11. What a scene we had this week. I'm going to tell you right now what a week it was. What a week 6. What a week 6. Huge upset on Thursday Night Football to start it off. We've got 2 Monday Night Football games tonight, so the week's not even over. And to top it off, we have our first head coach being firing of the season. We're going to get into all of that today as we review what happened in week 6. We grade the teams that played. We look forward to the 2 games tonight. I'm excited. I'm excited as I always am. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys were able to get through the Monday. Because as we know, Mondays, Garfield doesn't like, and I don't like them either. So I hope you made it through. I was able to make it through just barely. But I made it through regardless. I just have to update this with the newest headline that Brian Callahan has been relieved of his... Am I going to spell this right? Do I not know how to spell his last name? I'm sorry, Brian. Man, you lose your job and I don't know how to spell your name? That's some tough stuff. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that you've got that I have that issue and then it affects you. It feels like there should be a Callahan. Yeah, there we go. There you go, Brian. And now I just got to spell fired. He has been fired after a 1-5 start. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into recapping the games. We're going to get into previewing the games tonight. We'll preview them once we get closer to the actual start time. We have the Buffalo Bills, traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Buffalo Bills are looking to bounce back after their tough divisional loss to the New England Patriots, their first loss of the season. They're looking to avoid losing 2 games in a row. And Michael Penix and the Falcons look to be above 500, I believe, for the first time this year. If they can get the win at home against the Buffalo Bills, they will be 3-2 and above 500, looking to keep pace with the Bucs and the Panthers in the NFC South race. And as for our second game tonight, it is, I guess, sort of part 2, the rematch between Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. We obviously know what happened last year with the Hail Mary to win the game for the Commanders. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels will face off for the second time in their young careers, the number 1 and number 2 overall picks from the 2024 NFL Draft. That should be a good one. We've got a lot of games to get to. Oh my gosh, I didn't even update that one. Hold on. Now that's going to bug me. I got to be like, Giants clobber Eagles 34-17. Just got to rub that salt in the wound. Just a little bit for those Eagles fans in the way back. You're welcome. Makes you, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, so. I'm joined by latest cartoon character taking up space, Billy and Mandy. It's a real treat. It's actually the first one I didn't pick today. I was like, you know what? I just need something to fill the void. It's going to be Billy and Mandy today, chilling on the couch. Billy's always... You just aspire to be like Billy. There were 2... Reminds me of a skit from a different show, but I aspired to be Billy. Because look at him. Look how happy Billy is. You know how hard it is to be happy when you got that gigantic... Like, you think he can even see anything? His nose is in the way of his ability to see, and he is still grinning so happily. It's impressive. It's impressive to have that ability to be able to be as happy as he is. Let me just adjust this. But we got to preview our 2 Monday night games. As I said, we'll do that once we get closer to them. I got to talk about the Brian Callahan firing. We've had some incredible performances throughout the entirety of week 6, and we're going to be getting into all of them as we get to grading. So let me real quick pull up the classic here. Let me just grab that little tier list as I do. And look at that. It's already set up and ready to go. As we do, we got the top tier. That's the top performer of the week. In this case, it's going to be it's Johnny, that's my son. You know, that little Sing reference, right? And then we just, like, I have no son. This is the I have no son tier. This is the team that performed the worst. And then, of course, teams that haven't played yet or didn't play at all this week. That's what we're going to be getting into. We've got some good ones. We've got some interesting games to talk about. Some interesting, some not so. I got to start with, why don't we start with that Raiders-Titans matchup? I think that's a weird one to start with, but we're going to go out of order here just because Brian Callahan has, in fact, been fired. For the Raiders, it was an okay win. I mean, they're missing some pieces, right? There's no Brock Bowers. Michael Mayer actually had a decent game, caught a touchdown, had, I think, like over 5 catches, 53 yards, sounds about right. I'd only check my fantasy score at some point. But I was aware that Michael Mayer had a decent game because I was forced to start him because Brock Bowers was ready to go. And that's, I think, been a huge statement to this Raiders season. I think the reality is with the Raiders is they brought in Pete Carroll, who's a win-now coach, but it's not a win-now roster. Geno Smith played. Did he even play better? Now I'm going to, like, second-guess myself. Let me pull up numbers from this game so I can just get a feel of what we were looking at, because my goodness. And you can't even blame Cam Ward. Cam Ward was fine. Geno threw another pick, but that's to be expected. I'm going to tell you one thing. The Raiders need to figure out how to consistently run the football. Well, they were able to get 75 yards on the ground from Ashton Jeanty. I think the reality is you need to have a little bit more. Like, I understand Jeanty's going to be a workload in the backfield. Like, he's going to be the workhorse. But I don't think it works if you don't have a complementary back. I think in a league where, yes, having one great running back is great, you need a second guy who can complement him well. Like right now, when you look at this Raiders team, first of all, no clear number one receiver. Like it's supposed to be Brock, but he's not healthy. And even when he was, they weren't really targeting him. He felt like a decoy. I mean, Trey Tucker. Like if I go all the Raiders stats this year. Hold on. Raiders stats. Who leads this team in receiving yards? Yeah, Trey Tucker. Like isn't it supposed to be Jacoby Myers? Right, and he's had more targets, too. Like, he's had the most targets in that offense. Like, even when Brock Bowers was playing, 27 targets. Why? Why does Jacoby Myers have 16 more targets than Brock Bowers? I understand he missed a game, but Trey Tucker having more targets than Brock Bowers is criminal. That's your best offensive piece. I give the Raiders, like, a B. They won the game. The Raiders won the game. So I'll give them a B. But the reality is, you need to use your offensive pieces better. Ashton Jeanty needs, a compliment, right? He needs some sort of complimentary back. Raheem Mostert had negative rushing yards in this game against Tennessee. I understand it's a good rushing defense, but you have to find other ways to be able to move the ball that's not just Jeanty. And you have to find a way to get the ball into the hand of your best player, which is still Brock Bowers. It's not Myers, it's not Trey Tucker, it's Brock Bowers. I don't just say that because I drafted him in nearly every league in fantasy. You need to get the ball into the hands of your best players. Brock Bowers is that, bar none. He is one of your best players. You have to be able to utilize him. As for the Tennessee Titans, Brian Callahan's been fired after what has now been 6 games. Brian Callahan's been fired after 6 games this year, so instead of course 17 last year, that brings it to 23. He won 4 of those 23 games. I mean, he was 4-19 as head coach. And even this year, that Cardinals game, that should have been the turning point. I think that's why he wasn't fired. If they lost to Arizona, I think there was a real case he got fired last week. But because they didn't, they found a way to win. The expectation was, this will be a turning point, and it didn't look better against the Raiders. It looked basically the same. And if I'm the Titans, I think it made sense to move off Brian Callahan. Cam Ward was supposed to be getting better as the season went along. He's kind of stayed stagnant. And the point is, if you're an offensive coach, you're supposed to help him. You're supposed to be able to scheme up plays that will give him easy completions. Scheme up plays to give easier down and distance. Scheme up plays that can get you big chunks of yardage offensively, and it didn't feel like that was happening. And on top of that, the culture in Tennessee was terrible. I mean, you heard Cam Ward saying, "We ass." He meant it. And I think he meant it because, frankly, there just didn't feel like there was a culture being built in Tennessee while Callahan was there. And to me, for Tennessee, I'm going to give them a D. And the reason why is simple. Because you got someone who wasn't actively contributing to your organization out of your building. Mike McCoy will now be the interim head coach in Tennessee. I'm interested to see what that's going to look like. I think the Titans, hopefully they can scrap a few more wins, rallying behind, now we feel like we can start building a culture, right? And you can tell very quickly if a coach has something or doesn't. You can very quickly tell who's a great coach, who's a good coach, who's an okay coach, and who's a bad coach. I think Brian Callahan was ultimately a bad coach. And part of it was just, I think he rode the curtails of someone like a Joe Burrow and a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins and got the job in Tennessee and was not able to build a winning culture there. So ultimately, it's tough to see Brian Callahan lose his job, but he was unable to build a culture there in the year and 6 games he has. And you can argue, and some people argue, oh, it takes time. No, it doesn't. It does not. Good coaches do not need time. They get it done in half a year. In half a year, the culture is different. Look at Sean McDermott in Buffalo. Didn't have Josh Allen. Had Tyrod Taylor, had Nathan Peterman. That team made the playoffs. That team was competing to get a playoff spot and got into the playoffs and still kept it tight with that Jacksonville Jaguar team that gave that Patriots team a big run for their money and went into Pittsburgh and upset them. That's building a culture. It is immediate, and it is immediate right away. And McDermott did that. Even Dable, who I gotta give my props. I have to owe him an apology. But when they look like they have their guy now, it looked like Dable may have saved his job by getting out and getting Jackson Dart in there. But it is a culture, right? It does not take long for a culture to be different. And right now, the Titans need to move off Callahan because the reality was he was not building a culture. And you felt it, there was nothing there. The Titans just felt like the retirement home more so than ever. Now that he's out, they can focus on building a culture behind their young quarterback in Cam Ward. Have him build a winning culture. Sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a player. But the reality was, no matter what you say, there was not a culture being built there. That was the issue. Moving along from the Tennessee Titans. Let's travel back in time to Thursday Night Football. Guys, it's a little early to say. I mean, there were a lot of teams that played really well this week. I think without a doubt, the team that gets the "It's Johnny, That's My Son" award is the New York Football Giants. They played an incredible game of football. They played unbelievable ball. That's just the reality. The New York Giants hosted the Philadelphia Eagles with the expectation that this is Philly's get-right game. They're going to get right against the New York Giants, and instead, the Giants completely attacked them at the throat. You had Jackson Dart juking out Zach Bond. You had Cam Scadaboo running him over. You had Wan'Dale Robinson making the Eagles secondary look foolish. I thought at the beginning of the game, when Saquon ripped off a couple big runs, it could get ugly fast. The Giants held. They kept it close in the first half, and then they put the pedal down. They got a huge interception off of Jalen Hurts in the red zone. They were able to capitalize and just put the game away. And I understand Jalen Hurts misses a deep ball to Devontae Smith. Maybe the game is different if he hits that. But this is a perfect game for the Giants, simply because they found their future. They found their 1-2 combo at quarterback and running back to lead this team moving forward. You gotta feel good if you're a New York Giants fan right now today, because undoubtedly it was an incredible performance. To do that, especially without the guy you anticipate is your star with Malik Neighbors. I mean, I don't think this team's making the playoffs this year. If they do, it's an amazing feat. But if they don't, the optimism will still be there going into next year. They will get their top receiver back, and they will be even better. And with this defensive front, this is going to be a scary team. I think more so next year because they'll have an opportunity for a fresh 0-0 start. They'll still make waves this year. They'll still get some big wins this year. I just don't think it'll be enough just because I worry about the depth they have at receiver. But Jackson Dart, he looks like the guy. They've got the utmost confidence in him. He's got the utmost confidence in himself. The Giants are back. The Giants are fun to watch again. As for the Eagles, it wasn't the worst performance in the world. It's probably closer to a C+, to a B, maybe a C+. Because there were moments. You saw it in this game where the Eagles can very clearly still run the ball well with Saquon. But for whatever reason, I don't think they really like doing it. Like, if we go back to the Eagles here, and we go look at their stats, like, I don't remember them. They ran the ball like 10 times with Saquon. I don't remember there being a lot of carries for him. 12 carries, 58 yards. He actually had a better night yards per carry wise because it was like 5.8 yards. Yeah, 4.8 yards per carry. Jalen Hurts had a bad interception. Overall, played a decent game, and yet they still lost. Like, Dallas Goedert had a huge night. But again, it shouldn't be this difficult, right? Like, that's the reality. It shouldn't look this difficult to be able to do basically what you did last year. It just shouldn't. On any fundamental level. What Saquon did last year, obviously he's not going to hit 2,000 yards, but you should still be able to run the football effectively. It just feels like for whatever reason, Philadelphia forgot what their identity is. And they haven't gotten back to that. And this is a team that, for the most part, I understand they were missing Jalen Carter. For the most part, offensively, they have almost all their pieces. Let me double check and make sure that's true, actually. Eagles. I mean, I know they were missing Lane Johnson at one point, but, I mean, folks, this is not... No, he's still there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, fine. Landon Dickerson. But, like, seriously, you still have Jalen Hurts, you still have Saquon, you still have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you still have probably the best tackle duo in the league. Jalen Carter's out. Okay. It is what it is. You have so many other defensive stars on that team. It shouldn't just fall apart just because Jalen Carter's not there. And even he was struggling to start the year to begin with. So I just don't understand where the fall off is. Like, now you play the Vikings, right? I think this is, to me, if they lose this game, I think it because I've already said it feels way more like the 2023 team that limped into the playoffs and then got whacked around by Baker and the Bucs, rather than the 2024 team that feels like they could actually go on a run. Right? Like, it doesn't feel like it's a dominant team. So I wonder, right? And now you get the Vikings. Now, in my opinion, I think the Vikings should keep rolling with Wentz. We'll see what they do come this week. But you play the Minnesota Vikings. Here's your opportunity. Go beat up on Carson Wentz and get your confidence back. Because if you allow Carson Wentz to honestly win that game, I got to tell you right now, that's mighty concerning. That is mighty concerning if you allow Carson Wentz to take you guys down. I believe that game is in Minnesota. You go on the road to play Minnesota, and then you got to face the Giants again in your building. So you can't, and you've got the extra week, you've got the extra prep time. You should be ready for I understand the Vikings are coming off bye, so it kind of evens itself out. But you should be ready. Because if you allow Carson Wentz to do something even remotely similar to what Jackson Dart did, I got news. I think it's going to be a longer season than you think. Because you got Packers and Lions. Packers and Lions. Cowboys, who struggle defensively, but have been incredible offensively. They're not going to be an easy out. Then you've got the Chargers. You got Bears and Chargers. Raiders is easy. And then the last 3 weeks, I said this last time, the last 3 weeks of this season is Commanders, Bills, Commanders. That is where the season's going to be sad for Philly. It's not right now. It's those last 3 weeks. If you're not ready, prepared by those last 3 weeks, I got news. It's gonna be a problem. If you're not ready to go into that stretch, you're gonna have your issues. I would be concerned, very much so, if I am an Eagles fan at that point. But we'll see. We'll see what it ends up looking like. But it was not that performance against the Giants is a little discouraging. Miami. Let's talk let's talk Miami Dolphins. They played against the LA Chargers. Yeah, this is not good. It's not a complete. It feels like an F because I mean, you had that game, right? Like, you can't even get that mad at Tua. Tua did his job. He got them a touchdown. He got them an opportunity to win. Maybe they scored a little early, but you can't be all on him on that. I understand they have a Tua problem. And they do. Respect. Like, Tua did his job at the end. But they still have a Tua problem. Like, it's pretty... you know what? You can't turn... Because I remember... Now that I go back to it, because I'm really only thinking about, the last interception by Derwin James. But it was worse than that. I mean, look at this. What was the... Oh my goodness. Hold on. Miami Dolphins. Where are we at? Yep, here it is. I need this box score. Boom, boom. Yep. But Herbert... Yeah, 3 picks. Guys, it really sticks. Not only does it sound like his last name, but it really sticks. 3 picks is not... It's not okay. It's just not. And even with those 3 interceptions, like last week against Carolina, Tua couldn't move the ball. I mean, he almost threw a pick on the second play. I think his confidence is shot. I mean, they were running the ball. Devon A-Chain had a huge run in this game. He averaged, I think, what? It was like 7.5, 8 yards a carry. He was incredible, right? Jalen Waddle showing up as the number 1 receiver. Darren Waller's having an impact somehow. And despite, he caught, the touchdown, the go-ahead touchdown, and yet somehow, for whatever reason, it's just not, it's Tua. I mean, it has to be, at this point, it has to be Tua. 11 touchdowns, 7 picks in 6 games. That was a winnable game. That was such a winnable game. Because the Chargers were banged up to every way to Sunday. No Omarion Hampton or Najee Harris. They were starting Vidal. Well, I don't even know his first name. That's the worst part. I don't even know his first name. And yet he's running amok on you. 18 carries, 124 yards. Like, your whole point was, we have the better running back. Apparently not. Not by much. I like to see Ladd McConkey get loose. Ladd McConkey finally had a nice game, and then had a huge play at the end to give them the win. But you gotta give Herbert credit for breaking a sack. But if you're the Dolphins and you have Tua, again, because and this happens every time you face any of those quarterbacks. Anytime you face Herbert, anytime you face Burrow, anytime you face Jordan Love, anytime you face Jalen Hurts, anytime you see those guys on screen, you remember, Tua's in that draft class, and Tua is so, without a doubt, clearly the 5th best quarterback. And it gets clear every single week that passes. And the longer you have him, the more questions you're going to be answered. Why are we paying Tua all this money? Well, we're not winning football games. Why are we paying him top 6, 7 quarterback money? And this is the reality for some teams. You can't afford to pay a top 6, 7 quarterback like that. Like, there are 7 guys in the league, maybe, that should get paid as that top elite quarterback because they're the primary reason their team wins games. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Stafford's up in that conversation. You could argue Jaden Daniels may be in that conversation. You could argue Drake May right now. Baker Mayfield. I think Baker should be in that conversation. You tell me the Bucs are 5-1 without him? But guys like Brock Purdy, I would make a case for Dak now. Dak's actually playing well. He's the reason their team's even competitive, and they're not winning, right? But if you're going to pay Tua all this money and you're going to sit there and this is how games are going to be played, here's your reality. This is it. 1-5, lack of talent everywhere else. I think, Miami's season pretty much feels over. There's just nothing you can do. At a certain point, there's not much you can do about that. Mike McDaniel probably gets fired at the end of the year. That is what it is. As for the Chargers, it wasn't perfect. They had like a turnover in this game. They didn't play perfectly. I would like them to play better against a bad team on the road. But they needed a win. They could ill afford to lose 3 in a row after the start they had to the year. So, good win by the Chargers. I still don't really know. I mean, I'm concerned about the Chargers. Are they good? Do the Chargers feel like a good team right now? Because they won 3 in a row, all against division rivals, then have dropped the last 2 games and needed Herbert to bail them out against the Dolphins. So we'll see where it goes. Obviously, they're going to need to get healthier. They're going to need guys like Omari and Hampton back. It's a little bit of a concern. But I think if they can get healthy-ish, they could still be competitive. But that game against Miami does feel a little concerning, all things considered. And I mean, right now, if I go to what's their depth chart looking like? Because I know Alt's been hurt, right? So now, obviously not having Joe Alt, not having Trey Pipkins either. They don't even have the backup to Rashawn Slater. Oh my gosh, dang it, I didn't mean to do that. They don't even have the backup to Rashawn Slater. I was looking at the other depth chart. Yeah, Quentin Johnson also out, right? So that doesn't help either. They were missing their top tackles and their leading receiver, right? So I can understand their struggles on offense, even though they kind of didn't struggle. But I mean, and they're still missing Khalil Mack. Like, oh my gosh, look at that IR list. Ugh. Not good. Not good at all. But we'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what they end up looking like. Well, I think they can still very much win the division. I just think it's going to be a tough task if they can't stay healthy. But if they can get healthy, they can beat most of these teams. Hold on. My headphones died. Not that I'm listening to music or anything. I just don't like that they're dead. And they're going to have to charge regardless. Saints. I didn't expect much from them. I never really expected them. Again, it's like a C tier for the Saints. They try. They try every week, dog. They played the Patriots. Patriots, I'll give like a B. It wasn't like a dominant win either. There were some really bad penalties in this game from what I saw. I saw like a really awful, like, they called pass interference on Stephon Diggs, like on 2 really is that really PI? I don't know. The refs kept the Saints in this game a little bit, but that did not matter. Drake May still kept it going. Still looked very good. Again against the Saints, showing he's a franchise quarterback. I know there was some MVP talk. It does not measure up to Baker Mayfield, or for my opinion, even for what Daniel Jones is doing in Indy. But I will give Drake May his flowers. And here's what bothers me. This is why it hurts to talk about Drake May, just in general. Is that I got Patriots fans who are like, oh my gosh, thank God the drought's over. We've got our quarterback back. You didn't suffer. You never suffered. I don't know what suffering you went through in your 4 years. That was nothing. Okay? You don't. You don't. The truth is, I hate to say it, you don't really deserve to have this. Like, I'm gonna be real. As somebody, I speak as a Steelers fan who hasn't experienced a losing season since I was like 3. I wouldn't even know what that was, right? I probably wouldn't have cared, right? And I get it, like, we're spoiled too, but I've watched bad quarterbacks. I've watched us have bad quarterback play. Like, I've watched Kenny Pickett. I've watched Mason Rudolph. I watched the end of Big Ben. That was heartbreaking to watch. You never even really watched the fall off of your favorite quarterback. Brady never really fell off. It was just the fact that the Bucs weren't good at that point anymore. And like, man, it's ridiculous, right? It's insanity to me that this is possible. It's insane to me that you've already gotten your franchise quarterback. It's unfair. It's unfair on so many levels. It's ridiculous, is what it is. Is he fun? He's likable. I like Drake May. I like watching Drake May. He's a fun quarterback. I don't want the Patriots to be fun to watch, and yet they are. But it was good to see him beat the Saints. They played well. Saints kind of are the Saints. It's tough to grade them because their roster's terrible. I think they should start moving some pieces, but they're more competitive than I guess I thought. I thought they'd get... I'm expecting blowouts. I expect New England to blow them out. I expected Buffalo to blow them out. No, they never really did. They always kind of hung around. So I think they're a little better than what people think they are, but they're still bad. But let's see. You kept it competitive. I can't get too mad. Ravens, not an F, but having to bench Cooper Rush is the real thing, right? You have to bench Cooper Rush for Tyler Huntley. They need Lamar back. And here's the problem. I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters all that much. Because if you think about it, right, their issues stem far beyond just Lamar not being there. Their issues are still bad defensively. They still can't run the ball at Derrick Henry. They're in such a bad position. They are. They're in a disgusting position right now. And if they're not able to figure that out, then what does it matter that Lamar comes back or not? Right? They need to be better than what they've been playing, and they kind of haven't. They haven't been able to step up and fill some of the gaps that have struggled on their defense. If Lamar will come back, sure, so what? The offense still can't run the ball. The defense has not figured it out, in my opinion. I understand the Rams kind of struggled against them, but to me, that's more of the Rams playing poorly in my eyes. I just didn't feel like the Rams showed up as much as they could have on offense, which is kind of weird for a Sean McVay team. But this is nuts. Folks, this is I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen the Ravens this bad since 2015. I think that's the worst I've ever seen them. When they were super banged up I think Flacco got hurt that year, Steve Smith Sr. got hurt that year, Justin Forsett got hurt that year. Everybody, I think Terrell Suggs tore his Achilles in week 1. It was a brutal year of injuries for the Ravens, and it's similar now. But Lamar's not going to come in and fix all those issues. I think it's good, and I think trying to fix all those issues, it's just not. Here's, in all fairness, to the Ravens, it was a brutal stretch. There's no denying that. It was a very brutal stretch to start the season. But when you look at the Ravens and you look at their schedule moving forward, it's supposed to get easier. Does it really? Because they'll have their bye. And then they have Bears. They have Bears. They have Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets. If Lamar is healthy and they figure out their defensive issues, they can be back to 500 over the next 4 weeks. Before they have to play the Bengals at home and then the Steelers at home. The Ravens can turn it around. Just based on the talent that we know they have, based on the coaching staff that we know they have. It has to go off without a hitch. It has to be perfect. Everything about it has to be perfect. Because if it's not, then Pittsburgh's probably going to win this division. That's the reality if you're the Baltimore Ravens. Everything has to go off without a hitch, and if it doesn't, yikes. But those are winnable games. Bears is winnable, especially at home. You can beat Miami. You can beat Minnesota. You can beat Cleveland. And the only difficult part is that those are road games. Minnesota's going to be a road game. Miami's going to be a road game. Cleveland's a road game. But then you get 3 straight home games against the Jets, the Bengals, the Steelers. Honestly, the toughest opponent on this list is probably Green Bay week 17, maybe New England week 16. It's possible for Baltimore to come out and still win this division, which is why as a Steelers fan, I'm scared we're going to choke it away. But it's still very much possible if they get healthy. If they can get healthy and figure out their issues defensively. They have a good coaching staff. I trust them to an extent. I trust them to be able to do that. We'll see what happens. As for the Rams didn't play well to me. Like, I don't know. It felt like a C-tier performance. It didn't feel great by the LA Rams. I thought they were going to go in and blow them out. I thought Stafford, who had been leading the league in passing, was going to have a great game. And they kind of didn't. They won the game. They got it done. So, it's not like a close to a failing grade, but it didn't feel like a dominant win. If you're a Rams fan, you kind of felt nervous. That's like, are we going to lose to Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley? You got nervous for a little bit. I was nervous watching for you. I didn't want the Ravens to be able to get that win there. But not the best performance, but they got it done, right? It's one of those, didn't play the perfect game, but they got it done. They're 4-2, and they're right there with the 49ers. They're right there with Seattle. The NFC West is going to be a fun one down the stretch to watch. Bengals. I see Bengals off to the left, so I'm going to do the Bengals next. The Bengals, they kept it surprisingly close with the Packers. I'm surprised their defense didn't play particularly well. Josh Jacobs was a monster on the ground. Joe Flacco gave them something that was a little better, but it still felt like more of the same for Cincinnati. Like, I understand Joe Flacco is an upgrade. Unquestionably, he's an upgrade over Jake Browning. However, did it not feel just like Detroit? Like, they were on the road, they were down multiple scores late. Jamar Chase and Flacco kept them in the game, but at a certain point, it's still not enough, right? Like, there was never, I'll say this, there was never a quarterback they could trade for where everything was just going to work out magically, right? It was never going to happen. But the reality will eventually be, okay, you're going to need to make more moves than this. That to me is clear. And I get it, Green Bay's a good team, Detroit's a good team. This wasn't good, man. This was just not in any way very good if you're the Bengals, right? You still have now lost a fourth in a row. Now here's the interesting thing, and this is the good news for the Bengals that I will say. You play Pittsburgh in primetime next week. Pittsburgh has this thing of losing to bad teams on the road. They'll find a way to lose to you. I think there's a good chance Pittsburgh does, because that's just what Pittsburgh does. Right when it looks like they get momentum, that's maybe what a lot of teams do. But being a Steeler fan, I felt it. This feels like a trap game right away. I know it's a division rival game. It still feels like a trap game, despite the fact the Bengals are 2-4. We'll see how it ends up going. I think Joe Flacco does definitely give them a spark, and the more he's in that offense, the better it'll be. But with how porous that offensive line is at times, I find it very, very unlikely that they'll be able to consistently keep Flacco upright. They're going to have to get open. Like, Jamar Chase is going to basically have to get open instantaneously, which he can do. But they have to be able to keep games close early. Like, they're constantly down multiple scores due to the fact that their defense struggles and that their offense can't get going early. So we'll see how that works for the Bengals. I'm going to be honest. It's just going to be a rough season for the AFC North in general. It really is. I don't see it getting amazingly great throughout the next coming weeks, but we'll see how it goes. As for the Packers, not a particularly great performance. I almost want to put them in the same tier as Cincinnati. I'll give them a B. I still think they're missing pieces. They still, I know everyone was like, they're going to be a contender. They still feel like they're missing key offensive pieces. I know Jaden Reed being out doesn't help matters, but they still feel like a piece or two short of being Super Bowl contenders. They still need to work out some kinks. And I think this game against the Bengals showed it, because the Bengals almost had a shot down the stretch, right? They almost had a shot to win, to at least get back into this game. They got to figure out some things in the back end if you're Green Bay, and they got to figure out a couple things at the receiver position. But not, a win's a win. You take a win, but they got some things to figure out before they can really be a contender moving forward. We get to the London game. Denver, also probably a B-tier performance. Not a lot of teams really strike me as an A-tier performance this week. But man, Denver humiliated the Jets, and we're going to get into where they're going. You can already probably guess where in the general range the Jets are going to be. Denver played well. Give their defense credit. 9 sacks is ridiculous. I mean, it was nuts. They were getting after Justin Fields at every single moment they had the opportunity to. And even though they had given up a safety late, I thought, oh man, the Jets are going to somehow win by safety. Bo Nix was able to get him to field goal range, get him the win. And I got to say, man, Denver's interesting, right? Because I definitely trust their defense. Without a doubt, their defense is one of the best in the league still, and they remind us of that consistently. I'm worried about the offense. Is the offense actually going to be able to take another step forward? That's where I see concerns for that team. Is can their offense continue to step forward and progress and get better? I don't know. Because sometimes it looks like it takes the next step. Sometimes it'll struggle like it did in London against the Jets. I trust I trust Sean Payton. I 100% trust Sean Payton. I'm wondering how much you can really trust Bo Nix moving forward to continue getting better in this offense, but because it was a struggle at times against the Jets, so we'll see what they end up looking like. As for those Jets, buddy, I have no son. Like I right now I have no words. I have no words for a lot of things about the Jets. First off, 2-minute drill. That 2-minute that opportunity, those last final seconds at the end of the first half. Why are you not trying for more points? And to me, that told me exactly what they thought of Justin Fields. Without saying it, they said what they thought about Justin Fields. They said it with their actions. You do not trust your quarterback to go down and get into field goal range and kick a field goal. That's what that said. I know what Aaron Glenn said at the end of the press conference about what kind of question is that about Justin Fields. First of all, it's a valid question based on the fact that you had negative 10 net passing yards. That's a valid question about whether or not Justin Fields should remain the starter. And secondly, the fact that you decided we're not going to go down and try for points against a team in a game where you know points are going to be hard to come by based on what had happened that entire first half. The fact that you didn't try to go for those points is appalling to me. And it tells everybody this is what we really think about Justin Fields. We don't trust him to throw the ball. And I watched the 17 pass attempts and all the dropbacks that he had, and dang right you shouldn't. Dang right you shouldn't. Because what I saw there was absolutely frustrating. It was the most frustrating thing in the world. Justin Fields can't anticipate when receivers are going to come open. He throws the ball too late, and he allowed the Denver defenders like Patrick Surtain and Hufanga to close in and make the play late. That's the reality. Justin Fields can't anticipate throws. Justin Fields is not trusting what he is seeing. Maybe, I don't know what it is. Whether it's the offensive coaching, whether his confidence is shot, but the Jets offense, they're going to need to have an answer. They're going to need to have an answer for Week 7. If Justin Fields comes out and looks the exact same way, I got news. Benched. And looking at the Jets' schedule, moving forward, you play the Panthers next week. In my opinion, and I know the Panthers played well this past weekend, this should be the Jets' first win. It is at home. Your defense is still very talented. The Panthers' defense at times has struggled this year. If Justin Fields gets outplayed by Bryce Young, who has been considered a bust for a while now, who's been considered that he looks like a bust, you need to make a real decision because you get 3 of the next 3 weeks. If Justin Fields gets outplayed by, number 1, Bryce Young, number 2, Joe Flacco, 41-year-old Joe Flacco. This is not like young spring chicken. This is like 40-year-old, 39-year-old Joe Flacco. Or number 3, Dylan Gabriel on the Browns. Guess what? Pack it in. Pack it in. Get Justin Fields out of there. I think he should be gone now. I think he should be benched now, and they should try something else. But Justin Fields is not the answer for this team. He just isn't. You should be looking at quarterback in this upcoming draft, undoubtedly, because I don't think you have much of a choice. With how bad your quarterback play was this past weekend, pack it in, find yourself a better quarterback. That's what you need. Because clearly week 1 was an absolute fluke. Wild stuff. I mean, listen, everyone was saying the Ohio State connection is going to be legitimate. If Justin Fields doesn't trust what he's seeing, then it will not matter. Won't matter. Put this back. Moving along. That was embarrassing. Let's get some of these out of the way. The Vikings and the Texans, they did not play this week. They're on bye. So they're going into the bottom. We're waiting on that. We'll be seeing some more of C.J. Stroud and Carson Wentz next week. Let's get an A in there. Let's get Tampa Bay in there. What a performance by the MVP. The current MVP right now. In my opinion, hands down, Baker Mayfield. For so many reasons. Number one, not only is he playing some amazing ball, not only is he playing some clutch ball, but he's doing this. No Mike Evans. No Chris Godwin. Emeka Egbuka left this game with a hamstring injury. Bucky Irving not even playing in this game. He's doing it with Tez Johnson. No Jalen McMillan either. That's their fourth wide receiver. He's on his wide receivers 5 and 6s, and yet is still putting up 30 points. You know, there's only one guy I think that's ever been able to do that, and his name was Tom Brady. He'd be on his 4th, 5th string wide receiver and was still finding ways to make plays. Baker's playing at a phenomenal level. Undoubtedly playing at an incredible level. His confidence is through the roof. This Bucs team is loaded. I mean, listen, that 49ers team came in 4-1. They were, and I know they were banged up. Bucs had, who did the Bucs even have? Like, I gotta go back and look at this because this is ridiculous, right? No Bucky Irving, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Emeka Egbuka. It was Sterling Shepard, Tez Johnson. Like, who was he throwing to, right? And they still were able to put up 30 points. 30 points. That's insane. Baker's the MVP. I'm sorry. I know what Daniel Jones is doing. I take it back. You know why? Because Daniel Jones' roster, I don't think the Colts have had many significant injuries offensively. With the Bucs, if Baker Mayfield's not playing, I'm telling you right now, this team is 1-5 as opposed to 5-1. Just unreal stuff. Unbelievable, incredibly impressive. I gotta give credit where credit's due. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal what he's doing. As for the 49ers, it's a tough loss. I still give it a C. I give it a C. You know what? This is actually probably one of their better losses. I gotta be honest. You're playing with Mac Jones. You lose Fred Warner in this game to a frustrating, it is another frustrating injury play season for the Niners. No Nick Bosa. No Fred Warner gets knocked out of the game. You don't have George Kittle. Kendrick Bourne's basically your wide receiver 1 right now. And you still keep it close. You still keep it competitive. You got to give credit to Kyle Shanahan for keeping it close. I think if the 49ers want to make the playoffs and want to stay competitive within a good West division, because Seattle's 4-2, as are the Rams. I know they have the head-to-head matchup, so they have the advantage there, but they're going to need to make some trades. They're going to need to fill some pieces. I would go right to that Jets roster if I'm the Niners and saying, give us, try to get Quincy Williams maybe. Try to pry somebody away. Try to fill the gaps that you have, because I think it's going to be very difficult to continue to hold that if you stay as banged up as you are. But they played well. I got to give them credit. Road game, cross country in Tampa against another team that's 4-1. Give credit to 49ers. I thought they played well despite the loss. I think it was probably the best effort in a loss, in my opinion. Arizona. Probably the second best performance in a loss. I mean, I'll put them right there, and I'll put them slightly lower, just because, because I think I'm going to put the Colts in B. I don't know if I can put them in A just because of what they allowed Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals to be able to do. But Daniel Jones, tight game, still showed that they can find a way to win. So I'm impressed with that. When a team shows resistance, they're still able to get their pushback. As for Arizona, I mean, come on, we're starting Bam Knight, right? You've got Jacoby Brissett starting over Kyler Murray, who actually played pretty well against his former team in the Colts. Not perfect, but was able to keep it within reach the whole game. They had their chance. They had their chance down by the goal line. It was a tough play. Trey McBride doesn't get the call. I don't know. I didn't really see enough contact for there to be a foul. Maybe there's a camera angle of him grabbing the jersey, but Colts were able to get the win. They're 5-1. You got to give credit. The Colts are finding ways to win no matter what. I think some of the shine will kind of show. It's a little bit. It's not quite what we believe it to be. I think it will show some point this year. I don't think it's going to show. Obviously, didn't show last week. You got to give Colts credit though. Jonathan Taylor's playing probably. I mean, outside of Puka Nacua, probably the favorite for Offensive Player of the Year. Of course, I would probably give it to Puka right now, but it's still close. He's been a big part of what they're doing. Shane Steichen, man, I thought a guy whose coaching job could be on the hot seat this year, and the Colts are 5-1. So shows what I know in that case. But a lot of credit there has to go to Steichen, to Daniel Jones, to the Colts defense as well. I know they gave up 27, but they made plays when it counted. Indianapolis looks good, man, and they now have sole possession of first place in the AFC South after the Jaguars lost. Which, by the way, Jags, I felt underwhelmed. I felt a couple reasons. Number one, defensively, or offensively rather, they made some really awful mistakes. Like Brian Thomas makes a crazy catch, and one of their guys, Travis Hunter, lines up offsides. Right, that was huge. Could have been a huge difference in the game. I mean, they still played fairly well. They kept it close. It was a good Seattle team, but you would really like to get that win at home. I did have Seattle just because I knew Jacksonville was playing on a short week against the Chiefs, and they were a little short-handed. But I still thought, I'm still waiting for this Jaguars offense to be the offense I feel like it can be. And I thought we saw that a little bit against the Chiefs, but we really haven't seen it be consistent, and that's what we really need out of the Jags. The Jags need to be a little bit more consistent. If they can do that, then I can really fully buy in. I still have them as the AFC South favorites. Or not the AFC South favorites, but I still have them winning the division. That was my bold prediction coming in. I'm not going to switch up. But I do think, something needs to start, changing, right? Oh, here. That's why. I don't know why it... Whatever. I don't know why it keeps showing up like that. Anyway, yeah. There we go. That's what I would be looking for. That's what I would be expecting. Moving along. After Seattle. I'll give Seattle the A. I think they went in. I mean, first of all, let's talk one guy here for Seattle. The guy for Seattle is pretty clear. It's Jackson Smith-Njigba. Outside of Puka Nacua, probably having the best receiving season of any receiver, right? And that's really why they said, yeah, we're okay moving off DK. We like what we have in JSN. And he is putting up together not just a Pro Bowl, I'm talking an all-pro level season. I mean, he is playing out of his mind right now. Sam Darnold is happy to have this guy. I mean, you would have thought, Sam may not be able to put up the same offensive production. No, he's going to be just fine if he's throwing it to this man. And not just that, is he coming with big plays. He's coming with a couple clutch plays. He came with a clutch catch against the Cardinals. He was balling out against the Bucks. He had a huge touchdown catch in this game versus the Jaguars. Baker said himself, the water in Ohio State is something else. And JSN's playing at an incredibly elite level. You got to give him all the credit in the world right now. I think he's a big part of why Seattle's has been able to do what they're doing, why they're 4-2, why they have a real shot at the West. Saying they're like a top 5 team is way too much of a stretch. I've seen some weird stuff coming out of nowhere, but they're definitely pushing into the top 10. I think they're going to be exciting, especially if they can get and stay fully healthy on defense. Let's go with my Steelers. I think they had a great performance. It was a division rival. It felt like it could have been a trap game at home, and they handled business. They stood on business. They made Dylan Gabriel look like a rookie. That's the point. They held that offensive line with Broderick Jones, who had struggled. I think he had given up the most sacks in the NFL so far. He had been struggling at the tackle position. They held Myles Garrett to a tackle. A singular tackle. One of the best pass rushers in the National Football League. They held him to a tackle. Jalen Ramsey had more sacks than Watt and Garrett in this game combined. The Pittsburgh Steelers showed up, and I think Jalen Ramsey's been showing up for them as well. I think they are currently winning that trade, the Jalen Ramsey for Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. Jonnu Smith has been contributing as well. I mean, that's a player they needed someone to have an impact. Jalen Ramsey is having that impact for them in the secondary. It's been a world of a difference for them, and they were running the ball well. They were also moving the ball. They were running the ball well. They were able to get the short passing game going. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty darn good. I gotta credit Pittsburgh. They get an A for me. As for Cleveland, not a great performance. Their offense struggled. Right, that part was clear. Their offense struggled mightily in this game. You know, honestly, hold on. Let me move the Titans down to F because, you know, F performance. Coach gets fired. That's an F tier performance. But, you know, maybe, you know, that's not the worst thing in the world for the Jets. Worst thing in the world for the Titans, rather. As for Cleveland, they just, Dylan Gabriel looked like a rookie. There's not much more to say there other than that. It was not good. They were held out of the end zone. The defense couldn't make any splash plays. They've been good all around holding teams to low amount of points. But it's got to be better than this. You've got to be, like, how... Kevin Stefanski's an offensive coach of the year, right? Like, he's been a multiple-time coach of the year, and despite that, they still have a bad offense. Like, they struggle in a lot of big spots to get offense rolling. Like, I just don't understand it. So, if I'm Cleveland, I'm not saying that, you know, Stefanski needs to necessarily be fired right now, but you got to have a little bit of question marks about your head coach, who is supposed to be this offensive guru, and the best part of your team is the defense. I'm not complaining that the defense is good, but your offense should be better in all things considered if your coach is if your coach is A, an offensive coach, and B, a 2-time offensive coach of the year. There's a clear disconnect there. I don't know what it is. And also, Jerry Jeudy, why are we dropping every pass? Like, come on, man, step your game up. You had a great season last year. You're supposed to be better than this. Come on, let's start catching some passes. How about that? Get some passes caught. Carolina. Now, I'm gonna give them a B. I'm hesitant to give them an A. I'm hesitant because I still think their defense has massive issues and let George Pickens go off. Which, by the way, as a Steelers fan, that is the most frustrating thing in the world to watch George Pickens go off because I know how talented he is. And it was the crashing out that was the issue. And, of course, now he's not crashing out because now he's just getting yards. I mean, it's weird, right? Like, he's winning less, but he's getting the looks. He's getting involved, so that's the difference, right? I don't know. It's frustrating because imagine that duo of him and Metcalf, especially with the way DK's been playing. That's a little frustrating for me. Can't go back on it now. It is what it is. It's probably the first time we've ever traded away a wide receiver and we're wrong about it, right? But that being said, it is what it is. You know, Dallas has a great receiver. Credit to them, and he's balling. George Pickens is playing like what we knew he was capable of. We just couldn't do it with the quarterback play we had at the time. But Carolina gets the win. I give them a lot of credit. I'm gonna give Dallas a C because their offense is great. Like, Dak is playing one of his best seasons again this year, and now it just has no defense. Like, a defense that couldn't stop a stick of butter. It couldn't stop like a snail. It's not a very good defense. They let Bryce Young. I mean, maybe Bryce Young turned, like, every game. I think maybe this is the game Bryce Young turns the corner. Dave Canales, huge win, right? And yet, I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to think that the Carolina Panthers are going to be able to really do much because I still don't. Maybe, yeah, Bryce Young has the confidence, but I still worry about the Carolina Panthers and is this success consistent, right? Because Rico Dowdle, two incredible games, by the way. Hats off to him. Not only dominating Miami, but then coming back and putting up 200 scrimmage yards again, this time against his former team. Hats off to him. My question, and then when Chuba Hubbard comes back, they're going to be a great offensive duo. I just worry because every time I see Carolina get on this, like, oh, Carolina's finally back. Are they actually back, though? Every time, it's just, I think they're back, and then they jabate everybody. We'll see. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. They look like they could be interesting. In fact, hold up. Hold up. Hold on. Hold up. Hold the phone. I need to... Let me get... The issue okay, now they go play the Jets, right? If you're Carolina, and again, this is interesting. If you're the Jets and you lose and Justin Fields gets outplayed by Bryce Young, then you gotta bench Justin Fields. If you're the Carolina Panthers and you play the Jets and Bryce Young gets outplayed by Justin Fields, then is there not a level of concern where, when is Bryce Young gonna figure it out, right? Like there's a certain understanding where I get it, growth's not linear, right? But you can't be having like that follow-up performance. Does that make sense? Right? I just don't see you being able to have that kind of follow-up performance and get away with it. Plus, they don't have it necessarily easy. Like the 2 of the last 3 weeks, they got to play Tampa, right? They got to play Tampa 2 of the last 3 weeks along with Seattle. Like they'll play Green Bay, they'll play the Rams, they'll play the 49ers, they'll play Buffalo. It's not an easy stretch for the Carolina Panthers. And again, like, yes, but here's the thing. Look at their 3 losses. They lost to Arizona, kind of embarrassingly. They lost to Jacksonville at the beginning of the week. They lost to New England. They've beaten Atlanta, who we don't know if is good, Miami, who we know is bad, and Dallas, who is great offense and a terrible defense. Like, I don't know if they've beaten what I would call a real team. That's the concern. It's not really even a concern. It's just a fact. We'll see when they beat, like, obviously, like, they're going to lose to Buffalo. Like, their station is, they're probably going to lose to the Bills. They can beat the Bills, and, okay, I'm in. I'm bought in. You beat the Bills, I'm bought in. But if you lose to, like, the Jets, all of a sudden, I can't be bought into that. Like, that's the reality with Carolina. So, that's what it is. And, okay, so let's talk, okay, Chiefs-Lions. Let's close it out there, preview Monday night. And then I'm going to head out and do some stuff. Probably have some dinner because I'm hungry. Chiefs-Lions. Chiefs. What else can you say? Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives all the same. And destiny is the Kansas City Chiefs. Somehow, some way, they have emerged from, oh my gosh, they're dead in the water, to winning 3 of their last 4 games and are about to get Rashee Rice back. Yeah, the Chiefs aren't going anywhere. And they're only a game back from Denver and LA. And I'll tell you right now, the Chargers aren't fully healthy. I think Denver's actually their biggest threat now in that division, despite the fact that the Chiefs lost to them week 1. I think the reality right now is this AFC West, it'll be entertaining, but I think the Kansas City Chiefs are still going to be right there with the pack. They're going to be just fine. They're going to get one of their playmakers back. Their offense looks anemic, and now it's back. Like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, the reality is they're going to figure it out like they do every year. They figure it out eventually, and they were just fine once again. They're going to be fine. They figured it out, and they just beat the Lions. As for the Lions, I'll put them in C. It wasn't the worst performance. It was bad, but it wasn't the worst. They could have, the first play of the game, if Jared Goff gets set, this game could have been different. If I'm looking at the Lions, I think the part that frustrates me is not even that they played poorly, is that they're just not healthy. Like, I'm going to run you through how not healthy the Detroit Lions are. The Detroit Lions, now, worst part, Brian Branch gets suspended 1 game for the goofy goober crap that he was pulling on Monday. I don't understand, why you gotta be so upset that you lost a game. It's not the end of the world, buddy. It has some sportsmanship. Look at this IR list. Marcus Davenport, Ezekiel Turner, Khalil Dorsey. The secondary alone was missing Avonte Maddox, DJ Reed, Daniel Thomas, and Rakestraw Jr. I think, who else was out? It was, Terrion Arnold was out as well. Avonte Maddox, Khalil Dorsey. They had, 5 players in the secondary hurt in that game. That was just going to be a difficult one. They needed to score points. And they just, obviously, with the penalty, they got 1 touchdown called back. Jared Goff never got set. It was, and what's so weird to me is I've never seen that. I've never seen a play be a touchdown. They rule it a touchdown on the field, and yet they throw a flag well after the touchdown is scored. Right? I understand that it's an illegal formation, but, it's supposed to be recognized by the official, right? It's just, I've never seen that happen before. That would never happen for anybody else, right? And then it did. So I'm like, why? For who? For what? What is this? What are you doing? That being said, the Lions will be fine. They should be healthier. You lose to the Chiefs, you lose to the Chiefs. Like, nobody really takes the loss to the Chiefs like, oh, that's the worst thing to happen to you. You're like the 15th best team in the NFL. No. The Chiefs are legitimate. They were never going to go away quietly into the good night because they're the Chiefs, man. It's like the Patriots. They're just not going to go away that easily. And now, of course, we have... So those are grades for everybody that played. Now we have the 2 Monday night games. I'm going to give my take. Bills-Falcons. I'd be concerned if Buffalo lost this game a little bit because their defense is supposed to be better. Their defense should be playing better than it is. It hasn't. They struggled at times against Drake May, and they let Stephon Diggs go off on him. Atlanta's coming off a bye, so I'm interested. And the one thing I am interested in, specifically with Atlanta, is this defense legitimate? Because part of me feels like it's not. Like, I know it played very well against the Vikings. And it's had its moments this year. However, I kind of doubt that it's good. And I think it kind of gets exposed. It's going to do one of two things. It's either going to make a surprising performance against Josh Allen and lose in a close game, or get absolutely torn to shreds. That's what I think happens. We'll see. I think Josh Allen and the Bills should be pissed, though, that they lost to New England the way they did. I think they should come out firing on all cylinders, and I think they should get this win. But if they don't, it'd be huge for the New England Patriots because that would put them in first place in the AFC East. So that would be that's why New England is probably pulling massively for the Falcons tonight. We'll see what they end up looking like. As of right now, I'm going to take the Bills. I just don't think I think it's very difficult for me to see them losing back-to-back primetime games. I think they win this one. And finally, Bears Commanders, who haven't played yet. The Bears are going to travel to Washington. Is Terry McLaurin healthy? If Terry McLaurin is healthy, then there is a very real chance he's not. He is not healthy. I said Commanders on Sunday. I'm wondering... No Noah Brown either. Debo's going to have a lot of work to do. What's the Bears look like? How healthy is Chicago going into this game? They're also... they should be fairly healthy. They're coming off a bye. So, like, I don't really know why they wouldn't be healthy. Okay, Grady Jarrett. Ooh, former Falcon missing this game. Interesting. I do have concerns about the defense. That is a fair... You know what? I'm going to stick with my take. I'm going to stick with Commanders because they did struggle against the Raiders 2 weeks ago, and that was with Geno Smith. They got their interceptions, but I don't think they're going to get as many interceptions against Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels is going to be using his legs. So I think the Commanders squeak this one out in a tight one again. I think this is another close game. But I listen, if the Bears can get above 500 into 3-2, I will be very impressed. But I think the Commanders really want to win this game because they can be right there with Philadelphia for the NFC East. I think there is incentive in that vein to go win this game. I get Chicago has the same understanding with the Lions and the Packers and the Vikings all being kind of close. But I think for Washington, they're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles yeah, we're coming for that. I'm going to take the Commanders in this one despite the injuries. I'm going to take the Commanders to win. And, yeah. And that's it. That's what I have. Hey, the great and almighty Philip, can I have your thoughts on the greatest USC football player, Owen Hansen? Jay, what's up? First off, I hope you had a good Monday. Owen Hansen. Hold on. Let me... What? No. This guy played at USC? I don't believe you. Oh my god. I think he's awesome, dude. I think he's really cool. This is new? How new is this? Wait, how new? Oh, this was earlier this year. Wait, no, not earlier this year. This was 3 weeks ago. This is a docu-series on Owen Hansen, from USC backup quarterback to a powerful drug smuggler. What a fascinating man. That's incredible. What? Has spent the past decade within the confines of the Bureau of Federal Prisons. Where is he now? Is he out? He did his talk, dude, on prime time? He did it here? That's where he did it? He played with Reggie Bush. Oh my goodness. Was Reggie in on it? I don't know. I'll have to know the story if Reggie was in on it. I'll have to know if the story of Reggie was in on it. That's pretty impressive. I'll have to take a look at that. But wow. He's out. So he's out. Fascinating. I'll have to. Well, you know what, Jay? We're gonna need a guest on the. We're gonna need somebody here for maybe an episode of Free Refill. We'll have to go out and get Owen Hansen to come on and talk sport. Oh my gosh, it's all about connections. That's what it is, Jay. It's about connections in this world. We're gonna go get Owen Hansen. Oh my gosh. Oh, I could smell cigar smoke. I got a feel in someone's home. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:15. I'm gonna go try to catch the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Atlanta Falcons, and then I will also be tuning in for Bears Commanders. But I will say this. I will be not only doing Free Refill to discuss the previews of all the games on Thursday, so I'll be doing that. I will also be live reacting to the Browns-Bengals game. So either I will be really happy or really mad. I'll probably be a lot of things the entire time. I will be very emotional, so you definitely want to tune into that. You will be seeing me crash out, so that'll be fun. And then, of course, tomorrow is the main podcast episode with myself and with Taff. We'll be reacting to all the big news that happens. We'll be reacting to what happens tonight, tomorrow, and we'll also be talking Brian Callahan. We'll be talking some other fun things that we will have on the docket, and that'll all be tomorrow, probably. Yeah, I'm not sure. 7 o'clock, 7:15. We're trying to. I'm gonna try to have it later because I gotta be honest, man. This man's always late, so I think I'm gonna try to see if we shoot for 7:15 so we can actually get Taff on time and have eaten food instead of just, oh, I'm exhausted. So we'll see what we can do there. In the meantime, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna leave you with, Billy. Go watch Billy and Mandy. Go watch Billy and Mandy. That was an underrated cartoon. Doesn't get enough love. But that's all I have to say. I'm gonna go watch the games. I hope you all enjoy the games. Hope you all enjoy tomorrow, Tuesday. Whatever it is you do, probably work, man. You know what? I take it back. Don't enjoy Tuesday. So then, when you come in to watch primetime, you're happy that the day is over and you can relax with us. So there you go. Anyways, I'm signing off. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy the games, and I will see you guys tomorrow.